Can't wait to watch Paddy the Paddy Pimblett fight at UFC 286 in London? Well, it looks like you'll be waiting even longer now. But why? Well, because the Paddy suffered a nasty ankle injury. Is it just me, or is everybody else also surprised how we're hearing about his injury like a month after the fight? He looked pretty good during his clash against Jared Flash Gordon at UFC 282. Now, he did sort of limp out of the cage after getting a controversial decision victory over his opponent, but it didn't really look too serious, since he was clearly in control, and everyone thought he'd be good in no time. But what do you know, Paddy has been ruled out of UFC 286 because he needs surgery. On a recent episode of his podcast, Paddy got his ankle checked out by the doctor, who told the lightweight he needed surgery. Again, it isn't too serious considering it's just a grade 2 injury, but the downside is the surgery will take place in March, the same month as UFC 286. I think we all missed when it happened because Pimblett claims the damage was done in round 1 of the fight. It happened after Jared threw his first kick of the fight. And believe it or not, I rewatched all 3 rounds, and it's like nothing even happened.
Keep throwing those outside leg kicks.
Well, we said coming into this fight that this was going to be the most difficult test of Paddy Pimblett's career, and so far.
But yeah, it looks like we're not going to be seeing the lightweight sensation compete at UFC 286. What does that mean for his title ambitions, though? Well, he'll probably have to wait another 3 years in any case to lift the title. Despite having crazy momentum and hype, Paddy is surprisingly patient about his journey to the top. He knows he'll have to wait another 3 years before he can finally become a champion, and that's mainly because he's yet to fight a ranked opponent. Paddy does have 4 consecutive wins at the UFC now.
This could be it. So they've got one under. This is it. That's tight. He gets it. He gets the tap. The Paddy party goes to the next level.
And after a controversial victory over Flash, it seems like he still needs to prove he's truly ready for the big boys. Because as of now, he's nowhere near guys like Dustin, Makhachev,
I think what's going to be interesting to see who has the advantage. Oh, big left hand. That's it. Wow.
Islam Makhachev.
or Oliveira.
Chandler working off of that jab early. Oh! Knocked down for Oliveira now. Now a knee to the body for Charles and a right hand. Chandler retrieves it.
They'd literally eat him alive inside the octagon. Plus, how long is he going to be out? We know it's a grade 2 injury, but is he allowed to train? Will he have to be idle for a couple of months before he can start putting pressure on that ankle? All these details will have a huge impact on his championship ambitions, and I really have no interest in being the bearer of bad news, but there are too many fighters who lost their mojo after one injury. Or look at it this way, imagine he dominated UFC 286 and convinced Dana he's ready for a big name, and then he went on to win that fight too. He'd be pretty close to a title fight, right? But at the same time, former middleweight champion Michael Bisping thinks Paddy seriously needs to get a grip on things before moving up the ranks. Here's what he had to say. Despite having an entire nation behind him, Michael Bisping thinks Paddy needs to humble himself and cut all the "I'm the next cash cow" drama. Sure, he's managed to become one of the most hyped characters at the promotion in a short time, but that doesn't mean he should go around talking about how he's the biggest thing out there, especially when he hasn't even fought a single ranked opponent yet. Bisping also said it'd be a much different scenario if he was dominating his opponents inside the cage.
Oh, he's a fire. Oh, the big right hand. Oh, my goodness. On the ropes. Oh, the Paddy Pimblett has died.
Then it would make sense why he hypes himself so much. And this doesn't mean his first 3 fights were also a draw, but the last matchup against Gordon sort of opened up everyone's eyes. He's clearly not ready yet. Nobody in the top 10, certainly in the top 5, needs Paddy to give them a rub. What does Michael even mean by that, though? Well, it goes without saying, really. Does Dustin, Charles, or Islam really care about fighting Paddy? They have absolutely no interest. They couldn't care less about all the moves he's making. And when you think about how Pimblett makes himself appear like the biggest name in the division,
what did I tell you, Mike? Me and you will be having this conversation after the first round finish. And what happened?
it doesn't really look that good, to be honest. But what should the Brit look to do if even selling himself is coming off as egotistical? Simple. He needs to keep his head down and put in the work. While I do agree with Bisping, it's not exactly like what he said, since Paddy has been putting in the work.
Nice teep kick there by Levitz. Jumping teep. Oh, he wants this one back, does Pimblett. And he's got that neck this time. The neck. Jump right on it, did Pimblett.
Remember what he did after his first 3 fights? He literally ballooned up to a massive 200 pounds.
Will Paddy be the first. BJ Penn versus Jens Pulver finished him the same way.
He's got to get that arm back to Levitt if he wants to be able to defend. This is a really compromised position to be in.
Going on eating sprees all over the world, you can go check out his YouTube channel. The lightweight is dining at like 5 different restaurants in a single day. There's even that video of him devouring a slice of pizza at a post-fight press conference. And while I understand a slice of pizza is okay after weeks of determination and grit, he isn't projecting the champion image yet. Having the charm, personality, and mic skills is one thing, but being a picture-perfect champion is another. And this doesn't mean he should stop having fun or eating pizza. It just means he needs to show he's actually putting in the work to become a champion. He needs to stop self-praising so much, take care of his body, and stop talking about what he'll do inside the octagon. Because whether you like it or not, he barely managed to edge out a victory at UFC 282. The decision could easily have gone against him. But what does the UFC have to say about the Liverpudlian? Well, it's all mixed opinions as of now. Just recently, the former doubleweight champion Conor McGregor congratulated Paddy after his win over Gordon, claiming that he's doing all the right things to reach the top. And that's very interesting, because believe it or not, Paddy's rise at the UFC has actually been compared to Conor's. Of course, Conor was knocking guys out left and right by his 4th fight.
Oh, big shots by McGregor.
Look at the clock closely. 10 seconds.
Oh, he's hurt.
Could he finish him here? Conor McGregor is a UFC interim featherweight champion.
But either way, there are a lot of similarities. UFC President Dana White thinks the Liverpudlian has all the characteristics to become a global superstar in the world of MMA. Now, this might sound a bit harsh, but what has he even done so far? I'm not trying to take anything away from his opponents, but they're nobodies. And who's Paddy? He's also just a nobody. Not literally, but at least in the world of MMA. Sure, he has a lot of fans, but has he really made an impact in terms of skill and fighting? I don't think so. Dana thinks he can achieve superstar status as long as he keeps winning fights.
Yeah, I think that we knew that he was right there on the cusp of being a big star. You never know how somebody's really going to come over, until it happens, but yeah.
If his definition of winning fights is being schooled for all 3 rounds and squeezing out a victory on the judge's scorecard, then sure, keep winning fights, Paddy, that's all you need. Smelling a bit of the good old Dana privilege. And if you think Bisping was the only one, UFC veteran Matt Brown isn't sold on the baddie either. He thinks Paddy is nothing but a hobbyist fighter. 42-year-old MMA fighter Matt Brown is not convinced at all and thinks Pimblett will never be able to climb up the ranks. And there's a reason behind that. It's because he's just a part-time fighter. Brown actually thinks he needs to go back to the basics and start from scratch since he's so far behind the competition in terms of skill. An interesting opinion to say the least. But let's see how things play out for the lightweight sensation, as he'll need a couple of months to recover from the surgery in March. So, this is all that's been going on in the world of Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.